Glad to have you here with us as we continue on this chilly Tuesday morning. Chattanooga Mayor Tim Kelly is joining us, and we're going to talk about a few things that he's spearheading as we head into a brand new year. First of all, Happy New Year, Mr. Mayor.
Happy New Year to you.
Good to see you. Looking back to a couple of things that happened in late 2024, the sad passing of Dr. Carol Berz.
Yeah, really tragic and unexpected. I mean, she was such a breath of fresh air and so full of life. It was a shock to all of us, but again, City Council recently named the Family Justice Center after her, which I don't know that we've ever named anything after anyone that quickly, but it was absolutely fitting because that was her passion, and you know, she'll be a beacon for a model for public service for years to come.
You know, she served on the City Council for 16 years alone, and that's to say nothing of the other accomplishments she made to the city, many of which a lot of us don't even know about.
No, I mean, she was a true public servant, and I mean, she was there to serve the people of Chattanooga. And again, we talk a lot about localism and thinking about the people of Chattanooga first, and she embodied every aspect of that, not only in office but out of office.
Without question, and we'll be telling you more about Dr. Carol Berz here over the coming days and coming weeks. Novonix, on a brighter note, Novonix is going to be a huge economic shot to the city, right?
Yeah, it is. I mean, they make it's a really interesting story because they take oil sludge and they bake that down into a synthetic graphite material that's used to make these longer range batteries, which are really the next generation of batteries, and it's all happening right here in Chattanooga. It's going to be a massive employer, and we're really excited about it. They're partnering with the school system to bring people in and train them for these jobs, so they're really a model employer.
Any idea of the economic impact that they will make to this area?
Yeah, I want to say it's a $1 billion investment. You know, it's hard to say how that pans out.
Oh, sure.
But their lowest range jobs are still very, very good paying jobs, and they're employing a bunch of engineers as well. So I guess it remains to be seen, but I expect that they'll be right up there with Volkswagen in terms of the caliber and the volume of their employment.
And it's going to be an amazing sight to see, just like Volkswagen was and continues to be to this day. So we've talked about Novonix, Chattanooga Land Bank Authority. This is something new. A lot of folks may not be totally familiar with. Fill us in.
Well, again, that was actually stood up under the Burke administration. Great idea that just never got executed.
Right.
You know, essentially the idea is to take back tax property and turn it around and put it back into play for affordable housing development. And so now we've gotten it spun up and started. It's difficult work. We got to clear all the liens and so on to get that going, but it is going, and I think we've conferred maybe 50 pieces of property, and now that it's cranking, it'll continue to crank, and essentially we will grant that property to developers who will agree to develop it with affordable housing, which again continues to be our #1 local issue.
Which has been a hallmark since you first started running for public office, yet we have done so much in that arena since you took office.
We have. I mean, it's slow. It started with short-term vacation rental reform, which is, I think, tamped down a lot of the speculative buying. We've got a number of initiatives. We've reformed a lot of the ways we do tax incentives and developer incentives to make sure that we can have affordable housing. And I think year over year we had a 0% rental increase, so we are making a lot of progress there.
Speaking of rental properties and rental, whether you rent or you own, property taxes are coming up here before long. So don't forget that.
Right.
Some other things that I want to talk to you about also. The Walnut Street Bridge work. Tell me about that.
Well, it'll start in earnest. We're going to do a little pre-work here coming up, but it'll start in earnest mid-March, March 17th or so, and the bridge will be closed for about a year. So we're creating alternate paths with some public art along Veterans and along the Market Street Bridge. Again, that is, we've said, the Walnut Street Bridge is kind of like our local version of the Eiffel Tower.
Sure.
There it is. Well, no, that's Market. But listen, so we're going to try to get it over as quickly as possible.
Right.
But when it's done, it'll be in good stead for another 50 years. It'll have LED lights. It'll be beautiful, and new decking. So it needs to happen. We're just going to have to bite the bullet and get through it.
And just like when we redid it years and years ago, this is certainly something that we can all stand behind and be very, very proud of.
Absolutely, and that is precisely the idea, is to make sure that we preserve it for future generations.
All right, tell me about what's going on at Moccasin Bend.
Well, which aspect? You mean the hospital?
No, the water treatment facility.
The water treatment facility. Yeah. Well, again, we're making great strides there with, we're actually in the middle of converting that in a program that will stop flaring methane gas and turn that into compressed natural gas so we can that we can run all our garbage trucks off of. That program should be complete a little later this year. And meanwhile, you know, all the expenditures we've made to improve our sewer system have meant that we haven't had an overflow of raw sewage there at the North Bank, which we had a problem years ago with. Gosh, in almost 2 years. So
you also mentioned the Moccasin Bend Hospital. Anything on out there that we need to know?
No, that it's happening. It is moving.
Right.
I think the state is still looking for the alternate site where it will move to. But again, the good news there is that it will be moving, and then that space will be used for a national park.
Wow. And what a beautiful facility, what a beautiful area of land that property is.
It is one of the most significant archaeological sites actually in the country.
Yeah.
And of course, being right there across from where the new ballpark will be on the south side, it'll really be a jewel for Chattanooga.
How are we standing on the Paul Bark development?
It's cranking right along. If you're riding out 24, just have a look over there, and they tell me they're actually, you know, there's no wood to knock on here, but they're on. No,
go ahead.
They're on schedule. They may be a little ahead of schedule, but they're moving right along.
All right.
Yeah.
We've covered a lot of topics. We've got some other things we want to discuss with you, but we are up against the plot.
Sure.
Up against the clock.
A lot of other guests.
However, I got to tell you, the Public Works Department knocked it out of the park just a few days ago.
You know, we think so. Jeremy Wood, new director, is doing a great job. They went through a lot of salt. We got a lot of really nice notes and letters, because this is where, you know, a Public Works Department really either, you know, distinguish themselves or fall short.
Right.
And they did a fantastic job.
They certainly did.
I'm very proud of all of them.
And they may have another chance to do that next week.
Well, you're the weather guy. You know, again, this is
you may have a chance to do that next week.
That's okay. They'll be up for it.
Between you and me, I hope not, but I know they will be prepared. Mayor Kelly, thank you so much. We appreciate you joining us. You can find out more about Mayor Kelly. You can find out more about the great work that he is spearheading through the city of Chattanooga. All you have to do is check out the city's new website. Stick around. We have more of Let's Chat straight ahead.